What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the bottling edition of this Catalyst series. Anyways, I'm drinking a beer here that I actually bottled. This is that Irish Red Honey Ale. It came out less carbonated than I wanted it to, but I'm never really good with the priming on some of these beers sometimes when I'm bottling. But anyways, this is the brown porter, and we're gonna bottle it today, so let's get to it. I've got all my sanitized bottles over here, various bottles that just came from wherever, and some from the brew shop, some from beers that I've had. They're all pop top style bottles, so they're all clean, sanitized, and I've got my stir rate clean and sanitized, and my bottling wand. I'm going to use this to actually control the flow of filling my bottles. But first, people, let's set this over here. So get that out of the way. So people have been saying, well, how are you going to mix the priming sugar in to this fermenter? And the simple answer is you're going to do it very slowly and gently. So I'm going to show you doing that right now. I'm going to go ahead and close this valve so I don't disturb any of that. So the valve's closed now. I'm going to pop the lid off here. Set that there. Let's go ahead and pop off the top. And it may be a little stuck on there because it's sealed pretty good. So there's that. Move that out of the way. So now what I've got here is a couple of cups of water mixed with 4 ounces of priming sugar. I'm looking for a carbonation profile, not too heavy, not too light. So I'm hoping this 4 ounces is just right for this right on the money 5-gallon batch. So I'm gonna go ahead and slowly pour this in. Well, try to slowly pour it in until it's all in there. All right, now I'm gonna take my rake or a spoon, whatever you got. I'm just gonna kind of gently stir so that I dilute and mix this priming solution well within the beer. Just gonna stir it, stir it, stir it. If you kick up some yeast, not a big deal. All the trub is in the jar below. You do want some yeast in the bottle anyways to help carbonate the beer. And just kind of go from the top down. And you want to do this slow because you really don't want to introduce too much oxygen into this solution. So the idea is just to kind of help stir it without doing that. So once we get this done, we can move on to filling our bottles. Now that's pretty, I feel comfortable with that being pretty well mixed there. So what we're going to do next is take our stir rake out, set it aside. All right, next step. I've got the bottling attachment here all nice and sanitized, sitting in this little batch of sanitizer in the tube, and my filling cane. So first thing we want to do is we want to take the trub jar off. Make sure your valve's closed. Hold the valve while you're twisting the jar. And have a bowl under because it's going to spill, so you'll be able to catch it. Just like that. I'll show you guys this. I'll spill some of this off. I'll show you what's in the jar here. So that's what's in the jar. That has been collecting for 2 weeks in this jar. As you can see, it's a whole lot of everything. There's yeast in there too. You could set this aside and harvest the yeast out of it. I don't think I'm going to. That's a lot of protein to sift through. I was really kind of hoping I could, but since there's so much protein that settled out of this beer, I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to set this aside and I'll be right back. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put the lid just back on, just to keep any dust or anything from falling down in here while I'm doing this. Now I don't want to like set this gasket on there because I don't want it to like, as I'm pulling solution out of here, I don't want it like sucking down and possibly pulling any solution from my airlock down into the fermenter. So let's go ahead. I've got this under here for now. My little catcher bowl. We're gonna go ahead and screw on the bottling attachment. And next we're going to take the sanitized tubing. I'm dripping a little here, oh well. I'm gonna take that, slide it up on the attachment here, like so. Now, what I want to do here is, I'm going to take this sanitized clamp, put it on the hose. Okay, so what I want to do here, I've got the tubing on, right? And I've put my, this is just for the moment for right now. I'm not really going to use this for filling bottles. I'm just using it to pinch off the hose when I'm not using it for this initial part. Now, Craft the Brew said, and I'm going to try it here, that if you leave the tubing open, that when you turn this, the fluid is going to be forced to come down and push air out the hose versus bubbling up through the solution. So let's try it. I've got a jar here. I'm going to set the jar like so. So I've got it open, and I'm going to go ahead and open the valve slowly because I want to any yeast buildup or anything. And once it's flowing fairly clear, like this, it's still bubbled up though. So, anyways, worth trying anyhow. So now that I've got this clamp off, and I've collected whatever little bits of yeast might have been in there, and you can taste a sip if you want. Oh, that's gonna be nice. It's gonna be real nice. Got a nutty brown, definitely like a nuttiness to it. So that's gonna be great. So now what I want to do, let's see if I can do this up top. If not, I'll move the camera. So now I got my bottle filler on there. We're going to take our first bottle and fill. That's kind of cool too, because now we're filling the bottle. I don't know if you can see it, but a few air bubbles in there, of course, from that whole valve fiasco. So now we're at the top. Boop. And I'll just set this in here. So let's move the camera so you can see the bottle filling. Got that bottle filling with just a cap on it, sanitized cap. Set it over to the side, and got the next bottle and fill. I know you can't really see it filling, but it's definitely filling up. And the cool thing about this thing is that once you get it flowing, you can have the wand above the level of gravity there. So put another cap on it, set it aside, keep on moving. here's my honest opinion on the bottling process with this thing. It went pretty smooth. The only thing that I noticed was if you have anything, like after you swap out your jars, whatever, and you put the bottle attachment on, if you have any bit of debris or whatever down around that valve, it's gonna go into the bottle. So while I only had that happen to me a handful of times, when you chill your bottles anyways, if you're drinking home brews, a lot of that stuff is gonna settle and stick to the bottom. And when you're pouring your bottles, you wanna be cautious and slowly pour them and leave the last ounce or so of your brew in the bottle. I did take a gravity reading quite easily with this thing. I simply just took the bottling wand, took my gravity cylinder here, graduated cylinder, whatever you want to call it, and filled it up with no problem with the bottle attachment, and put my hydrometer in there, and this was actually about a 1.011 finished gravity on the beer. Word to the wise, if you're new to home brewing, and a lot of you that know, just ignore this part if you want. Always take your gravity before you bottle. Reason being, I didn't in this case, but the reason being is if your gravity is too high, that's a good indicator, unless you used an unfermentable sugar like lactose sugar or something. If your gravity is too high, that means that your beer is not done fermenting. And if you put it in a bottle and you put more sugar on top of that, you're gonna have explosive bottles. Lucky for me, I'm gotten so used to doing brewing, and so sometimes I skip these little things that sometimes can matter, and in this case it's always a risk. If you don't take a gravity reading, you're at risk of bottle bombs. So anyways, this should be good. I ended up using a couple swing top bottles as I ran out, and in earlier shots you probably saw there was still a little bit of some solution down in the conical. I'm at 5 gallons. They must have room for, I guess, a little leftover in there. But the thing is, I'm only bottling 48 bottles. What's left, I don't even want to risk bottling because it might pull in some extra unnecessary debris, if you will. This beer had tons of like clumps of stuff in it when I was fermenting it, and that has a lot to do with the whirfloc tablet that I used. So anyways, long story short, next video I will show putting it in a dishwasher and letting it run, and then we'll take a look and see how that turns out after it's been washed in the dishwasher. I don't plan on putting the valve in. I'll wash that by hand and the lid by hand, but the main vessel here will go into the dishwasher. So anyways, I hope this was informative. I hope this helped some of you guys who are on the fence about using this thing. Just know that when you do bottle and you have a lot of protein in the beer that separates, there's a good chance that you might get some in your brew. Lighter beers, I really don't see that being an issue. So cheers, and we'll see you again.